Michael, I'm so excited to have you as a guest on our podcast today. We speak to the most innovative and creative CEOs in the wellness space, and I was super excited to meet you at one of their Naturally San Diego events recently. And I've been a big fan of your kombucha brand for the last few years, and I would love you to share your story about how you got started.
Sure. Well, I chef by trade. I After college, I was living out on a farm in Southern Oregon, and it was before there was a kombucha on the shelf. And coincidentally, way back then, they were brewing this big vat of hippie juice. Didn't even know what it was called, and it turns out that stuff on the farm was kombucha. And then go forward about 20 years from then, and my sous chef brought me a bottle of GTs, which was, the big commercial brand, and it just blew my head off. I couldn't believe the flavors, and realized, oh, that's what we were brewing on the farm. And, as a chef and as a chef instructor, I used to tell the class, I love being a chef, but, um, in my next life, it'd be nice to just really focus on one product, and infuse everything I know about flavor and being a chef into that product. And when I had that first sip, that my sous chef had brought me, something clicked, and I realized that I really could take the flavors of the world, everything I know in food production and flavor profiles, and put it all into this one product. So yeah, started doing some kegs on the local market with another chef friend of mine, and it's kind of grew from there.
How amazing. Are you a national brand now?
We are distributed west of the Rockies, so we go out as far as Denver, Colorado, up to Hawaii, Pacific Northwest, but we have not gone further east than the Rockies right now, where we're in the natural grocer chain, about 29 natural grocers in the Denver area.
How amazing. And you both have both the non-alcoholic and the alcoholic version of kombucha, the hard kombucha, the alcoholic one right now, right?
Yes, yes. We started with just the non-alc, did that for a few years, and then about 2 years ago, we launched the hard kombucha. Yeah, they're all 6% ABV, same great base kombucha, but add some more yeast, a little more sugar to create that alcohol, and yeah, we were off to the races.
Sort of the healthy version of alcohol, right? I always feel better drinking a hard kombucha over a beer or another cocktail. I feel like I'm, drinking something healthier.
Better for you,
There's
if there
more
is a for.
probiotics in there.
Yep. We do not pasteurize a hard kombucha, which is actually kind of rare in the hard kombucha space. We're still doing a live raw hard kombucha. So, some debate out there whether or not the alcohol affects the probiotic load. But we do not kill off the probiotics by choice.
With the pasteurization, right? And I think there's a much bigger movement going back to non-pasteurized beverages. I know I love drinking raw milk, and it's great to see that there's other products out there without the pasteurization because it's so much easier to digest with enzymes and just better for you, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Alcoholic or not, the beauty of kombucha, besides the big bright flavor, uh, are the health benefits, right? So, if you're not offering those live probiotics, I just think you're doing a disservice to the potential of kombucha for wellness and health. With pasteurization, you'll still have some of those beneficial acids, which are good. You'll have the antioxidants from the tea, but if you're really looking for something that's going to improve gut health, you really do need those live probiotics. Not to be confused with brands that will kill their kombucha via pasteurization and then add a pharmaceutical back
Probiotic.
on the back end, right? If you see that, yeah, Bacillus subtialis. It's a tough one to pronounce, but
The big name probiotics, yeah.
yeah, when you see that on the label, you can assume that it's been added and not from the natural fermentation.
Amazing. Starting a new company and launching your own brand is definitely not for the faint of heart. I'd love to hear what some of your challenges has been. How long has it been now since you've launched, and how you've overcome some of those challenges?
Sure. Well, we've always grown organically, for better or for worse. We started out with just my partner and I throwing in a little bit of money, and then just building. We started in a garage, and then a shared space kitchen, and then we decided to build out our own brewing facility. We started with some hand bottling after kegging, went into canning through a mobile canner, and then got a canning line. So, we're totally self-sufficient now, but it's not something we did with a big boatload of venture capital. So, the challenge of growing through your revenues, I think is something that is challenging, but also made us a lot stronger as a company. Our foundation. I think if I had a lot of money to begin with through an investment, I don't think I would have spent it as wisely as we spend our capital now. But yeah, still entirely self-funded, and growing you asked if we were a nationwide brand. Growing a nationwide brand is very capital intense. You do need to support all those retailers, and through off invoice programs and special deals. Also having merchandising teams out there making sure your product is looking good on the shelf. Yeah, that is definitely a big challenge out there. It's one thing to make a great tasting product and make it consistently, but boy, staying on those thousands of retail shelves is a never-ending challenge.
Getting prime space and making sure your branding is right and that your product stands out. It's such an interesting space, the kombucha market. It obviously exploded over the last few years. I remember it coming out, I think, in the late 90s. When did it actually, launch for the first time? I remember having my first GT, I think, in the early
Yeah,
2000s, maybe. Yeah.
yeah. Late '90s, I'd say. I mean, back when I was talking on the farm there, that was mid '90s, and there was not a commercial kombucha on the shelf yet.
Yeah.
So
Amazing. Amazing how
yeah,
far it's come. What
for
do you
for an
see the
ancient
market?
for an ancient drink like that, it's surprising it took so long. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's out there.
absolutely. I think more and more people are understanding the benefits of fermented products, and I think this is a great example of it. How do you see the kombucha market sort of developing over the next, 5 to 10 years? What's your prediction?
So I think there are a lot of functional beverages out there that kombucha is sort of lumped in with now. I do see it sort of maintaining or even becoming its own category outside of all those other functional beverages. I do think it is a standalone in that sense. Um, I do see I do see the market stratifying a little bit between real premium kombuchas made the way they're supposed to be made, and then mass-produced kombuchas that use kombucha concentrates for acidification and don't do any fermentation within their facility. It's make a tea, add some of that pre-made acid to it, some natural flavors, and call it a day. So I think you're going to have your craft beers and then your cheap domestics, if you want to use the analogy of the beer world. Whereas now, I think our consumers, it's rare. I know there are some out there that just really know and love kombucha and have for some time, but I'd say the majority of the market still wouldn't really know the difference between what I'm talking about there, or care. So I think there needs to be that education piece as to A, what is kombucha, and then B, is the kombucha I'm drinking and spending my money on really going to do anything for me, or is it kind of just an imposter, if you will?
Yep, yep. And I think that people that are connoisseurs on kombucha can definitely taste the difference. And I think also, I think if you really tune into your body, you can almost know what's beneficial or not, and you can sort of taste the difference for sure. How do you connect with your consumers, get feedback, and adjust what you're doing in order to stay on the top shelf in the market?
Yeah, well, we're constantly, we're looking at our website. We get great feedback, comments from our customers direct. For the hard kombucha, there's rating platforms like Untapped. I just got a great email from our representative at Kehi, one of our distributors, and talking about some of the branding aspects and what he thought of all the flavors and what possibly could attract a wider consumer base just based on label and branding. So you do have to evolve. You do have to keep moving forward, but I also feel like you do want to have some consistency and continuity, and not be constantly looking for that next shiny object. Like, oh, if we only had that on our label or this on our label, just come out with some good branding and a nice look, and I think people want to continue to recognize that going forward. But you know, um, we've been blessed to have. I think it's the product that has always kept me going. People do love it. We two of our non-alcoholic flavors took gold medals in a blind tasting at the 2023 Kombucha Cup, um, and we took gold for a hard kombucha. So hearing that kind of feedback, especially from people who are tasting blind and are in the industry, has been very encouraging. So we just really want to get it in as many mouths as we can. We want people that love our product to enjoy our product. I'm not about taking over the world. I'm not about cutting corners and doing things like that would maybe help us scale a little easier, maybe put a little more on the bottom line. But it's really about that liquid. The fact that we haven't mentioned kind of the chef crafted nature of kombucha, but every flavor we do is conceptually derived from culinary tradition. We are really trying to work in like our Thai ginger. We didn't do just
That's
a
an amazing
ginger,
flavor. Yeah.
but we brought in all the flavors of Southeast Asia, right? Fresh kaffir lime leaf from a biodynamic farm here in North County, San Diego. Lemongrass, lime, ginger. So really, hopefully transporting you to something you would taste in Southeast Asia. Our mango masala, inspired by the Indian Ayurvedic use of spice, the balancing of cool and hot ingredients that you feel not just in your mouth, but in your body, in your being. So mango masala, right? Obviously inspired by that. Um, Blueberry tart is just an homage to Americana. It's kind of a play on words there. Blueberry tart. Kombucha's tart, but it's also reminiscent of a blueberry pie, right? Hibiscus rose. We get rose water straight from Morocco and pair it with a hibiscus infusion. Just very, very exotic. So it's not just about putting out a blueberry kombucha or a hibiscus kombucha or a mango kombucha. We really have developed thoughtful flavor pairings that work, in your mouth, but also, have meaning conceptually. So that's kind of our jam. And when we do put out a flavor, it has to have meaning and it has to be something that is thoughtful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the one difference that I love about your kombucha and in tasting it, on a sort of a tasting shelf, the flavors that you've incorporated into your different kombuchas are amazing. I remember tasting your mango masala and the one from the blueberry tart. It was definitely unique to, anything else I've tasted. And I love the passion that you've put into creating those different flavors. How did the name Bambucha come about?
So Bambucha is it comes from the Hawaiian pidgin language, which is sort of I don't want to call it slang, but the pidgin language. It means really big. like like the waves are bambucha today. We even call our non-alcoholic line our organic big kombucha, and then we have our organic hard kombucha. So we love the connection of coastal San Diego and Hawaii. I felt like there are a lot of parallels there. Partner and I have both loved surfing, loved the culture of Hawaii. We've donated to the reefs, keeping the reefs alive in Hawaii as well. That's one of our causes. And it rhymes with kombucha really nice.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. Do you
mhm.
have you spent some time in Hawaii? Is that sort of your background?
Uh, my business partner definitely goes there more often. I've been there a few times for sure. I'm by no means a Hawaiian, but we do like our guava punch flavor is definitely homage to the tropics, and we tend to have a bit of a tropical feel in general with our brand. And it just fit in really nicely. And like I said, I do feel that sort of that connection to the ocean, to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
surf, to San Diego and Hawaii. Yeah.
And I think a lot of your designs are very Hawaiian too. I had the privilege of living in Hawaii for 9 years, so I can really see that in your products and your and
Mhm,
especially the guava flavor. It's really amazing. I love it.
mhm, mhm.
So tell me about you personally, Michael. What is sort of your why and why you get up every day and you do what you do? Do you want to share that with our listeners?
Yeah, I started cooking when I was 16 years old, and all the way through, five-star hotels and culinary consulting and culinary education, and I feel like this kind of gave me an opportunity for just a whole nother chapter, doing something, I mean, being in the CPG space, consumer packaged goods space, and building a brand is just, something I never would have done as, in the restaurant industry. I mean, yeah, you could start a chain of restaurants, but, after all that time, I just felt like it'd be wonderful to kind of have that final chapter in my career. And everything that I've learned as a chef throughout the years has come into play here, whether it be, of course, the flavor pairing, um, not just knowing what flavor we want, but really how to get there, right? Having the palate and the expertise to do that. But then you also have, the safety and sanitation piece, food safety, efficiencies that you develop as a chef, product sourcing, right? Running a balanced budget, all of that really came into play. And what gets me up in the morning really is the fact that I know, what we're putting into the cans and the kegs, um, is something that we're all proud of here. I don't think, if I wasn't proud of that product, if we dumbed it down and maybe pasteurized or sent it out to a co-packer to make, I don't know if I would wake up with that same
Feeling as
spring,
proud of
that
what you
spring in
do.
my step. Yeah. So, just really being part of the product itself, far beyond just selling something,
I
you
love
know,
that. I
that
love
real
that.
that real connection to the liquid.
And what are some of the things that you do from a personal perspective that keep you in top mental and physical state? I know running a business is not easy. There's days that are challenging, where you've got to keep your energy level up, et cetera. Do you meditate? Do you have a certain regime that you follow? Sort of what keeps you centered and, um, you know, optimum, health yourself?
Yeah, I think, the chef mentality is always to push really hard. 10, 15-hour days, wanting to always make the best and be the best. So, sometimes I have to make myself realize that there needs to be that work-life balance. And now, I'm getting up there. I'm in my 50s. Kombucha keeps me looking young, with all the hair and stuff. But I love to go surfing when I can. I love to go surfing in the morning if I can get out there in the ocean and do that for an hour or two. The
Centers
rest
you. Yeah.
the rest of the day is just, nothing could go wrong. I just have a glow and a smile on my face, and it's just I'm better for it. I like playing drums. I love being in the backyard with my family, maybe a hot tub. Um, you know, Meditating, I think, for me, I really love music and listening to music live and recorded. For me, that's definitely a meditation. Um, I'm not a yoga guy. I don't do yoga formally. I do like an occasional cold plunge uh, after a hot tub. But yeah, those are some of my wellness practices. Really, just realizing that there is more to life than just grinding it out at the workplace. So yeah, balance.
Yeah, keeping that balance and making sure you have time for self-care and your family and
Hmm.
people that are close to you. I love that.
Hmm. Yeah,
So what
I think it reflects in your work too. When you
it
do that,
does.
maybe you're shaving an hour off your workday, but like I said, if I come in after a surf, I'm revived, I'm sharp, I'm fresh, I'm ready to go, I'm positive, like
It's grateful.
it's hard to put
Yeah.
a value on that. I think well worth coming in a half an hour late.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of morning self-time, whether it's a workout or meditation or, just
Mhm.
having some gratitude time. I think that really sets the stage for the rest of the day. And the more CEOs I speak to, I realize that the people that are super successful make time for that. So I love that you're doing that as well. So what's your vision for Bambucha Kombucha? In a perfect world, where do you see it in the next 5 to 10 years?
You know, I would like to see it just like it is now, by about 100% bigger. I don't need to take over the world. I'm not even at this point, after years of understanding the challenges of retail, I'm not 100% sure I want to go east of the Rockies, to be honest. I feel like there's so many people who enjoy our kombucha now and have the potential to enjoy our kombucha, in California and Oregon and Washington and everywhere else we're sold. I want to continue making the best kombucha, real kombucha. Um, and I'd like to grow the hard kombucha a bit outside of this territory, so that's definitely on the map. We are only in Southern California with our hard kombucha now, so tons of room to get that out a bit more far and wide. But really, I just want to keep doing what we're doing. I do appreciate the profitability of scale. So, as we do grow, I'd love to see even more profitability in the future. But that's something, every CEO has to work towards. Um, and I feel pretty fulfilled right now, and I just want to keep doing the good work and putting out a great product.
Amazing. I'm a big hard kombucha fan. If we go out, I always ask, is there a hard kombucha available, in a restaurant or a bar? And I'm surprised at how few, restaurants and bars actually have hard kombucha on tap or even in the fridge. Do you see that changing? Because I feel like the general population, is asking for it, but it's not in restaurants and bars yet, or not that many.
Yeah, it's been a slow, steady increase for sure. Starting in the non-alcoholic space, when we first started, we had to really tell restaurant owners, what it is, what it's for, why people are going to enjoy it, why you should carry it. I think it's definitely gotten a lot more mainstream now, but you know, good luck seeing two different flavors of hard kombucha on tap somewhere.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
might have 10, 12 IPAs on tap,
And
but
one,
they're only putting on one kombucha. If they're even putting it on draft, they may just bring it in cans, because they
yeah,
don't want to give up that precious tap line. But I always tell people if people want a beer, they're going to get a beer, whether you have 10 IPAs or 12 IPAs. Throw a couple hard kombuchas on there,
yeah.
throw an
Because I
alternative.
find that some places even have the hard seltzers, but they still don't have the kombuchas. And, maybe it's
Mhm,
the alcohol distributors, across the country or maybe on the West Coast that are still not,
mhm.
incorporating that in their portfolio. But for the people that have not tried kombucha or hard kombucha, what would you like to say to them?
So there's nothing else like kombucha.
Hmm.
Like you're not going to get that. There's something magical about the fermentation process that, converts that organic cane sugar into those beneficial acids and probiotics. So, with those acids, and that's on the flip side, that's where some people get turned off, right? If you've ever had a kombucha that's gone a little too far and you're getting that really in your face vinegar flavor, right?
I love
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
that is the process, though. We are developing acetic acid in the drink, but because of that, if you can find just the right balance between the sweet notes and the fermented acidified notes,
Hmm.
there's just nothing like it. And there's something in kombucha that makes people crave it and almost need it.
Hmm.
That's why I started brewing kombucha. I realized that I had to keep drinking it, and I was really like looking for it. So I just started brewing some at home because kombucha gets a little expensive after a while when the habit kicks in.
It
Um,
does.
yeah. So I think for someone who says they've never tried it, try it. And if at first you don't think you like it, maybe try a couple different brands, but also try it a couple times. I remember the first time I had it, it just blew my head off. I was, you're like, how can people drink that?
Yeah.
I think it was at GT's, and GT's
Mhm.
is
They're
notoriously
strong. Yeah, the
pretty
original
strong,
GTs are
right?
super strong. Yeah.
After my third bottle, I was hooked,
Yeah.
and I craved that big, exciting flavor. So, you know, I taste a lot of the functional drinks that come out now because they have more and more become our competition on shelf.
Hmm.
And nothing compares to kombucha in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's an acquired taste, but once you appreciate it and you can start tasting the different flavors and the different fermentation methods, etc., it really is a unique experience. And yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
What is the percentage of people that drink kombucha now?
It's still fairly coastal, right? People on the East Coast and West Coast, I think it's becoming a little more, commonplace. I think there's definitely a lot of room to grow uh, on the inside of the country in the Midwest and places that kind of come to the game a little bit later when it comes to trends. I think they generally start on the coast. Um, but one thing he said made me think also that you know, I look at kombucha as an incredibly delicious drink with the added functional benefits. A lot of people they think kombucha, oh, it's that health drink that has the probiotics. To me, that's a bonus, but it's secondary. We are trying to use the nature of kombucha as a platform for, like I said, incorporating all these flavors from around the world. It's an incredible palette for that. Um, it's tea and sugar and a culture. And once you ferment it, you get something that's nice, a little sweet, little tart. But then you can take it anywhere you want with the flavors you add, whether it be we use a lot of organic fruits, whole roots, ginger, turmeric, botanicals like the hibiscus and lemongrass. So really fun. Whether you're going out and shopping for it or maybe making it at home. It's a very nice palette for playing with flavor and flavor development.
Absolutely. I think one of the things I love about it is that, I try to, I really see food as medicine, so everything that, we consume, I think about what the benefits are for our bodies, right? And one of the things I love about kombucha is that it's gluten free. I don't do well with drinking beer because it has a lot of wheat and gluten in it, and a lot of people can't tolerate that. So I don't think a lot of people even know that, kombucha is gluten free, and it has, it most people can tolerate it very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, a lot of people are very anti-sugar now for good reason, right?
Hmm.
We Bambucha is kind of we fall mid to mid low on the sugar spectrum. But what I like to always make sure people know is that when you're ingesting a little bit of sugar in your kombucha, it's just not empty calories, right? It first of all, the organic cane sugar is integral to the fermentation process. You cannot make kombucha without
Without,
sugar. It
yeah.
is it is the food for the culture, and that sugar again is converted into those beneficial acids. It's literally consuming the sugar. So the organic cane you're getting in a good kombucha is a little bit of residual left over from the fermentation, right? We're always looking at that. It's called the Brix level, the sugar level versus pH, which is your acidity level. So, we ferment our base kombucha for about 30 days
Wow.
at a perfectly warm temperature. So that Brix level, that sugar level just plummets, right? And that pH level that gives you all those bright flavors goes up. So, well, the pH actually goes down, the acidity is going up. And it's a little bit of sugar. Oh yeah, and then you're getting a little sugar from organic fruit. So I say with kombucha, you want to get a real kombucha, but don't fear that little bit of sugar because without it, you don't have kombucha, and you're getting a ton of functionality and good stuff with that little bit of organic cane.
And it's generally a very low calorie drink. That's one thing I love about it too. I think what is an average can on a calorie level? Um,
It ranges from 50. We're at 50 calories for a 12-ounce can. I've seen some maybe in the mid 40s, and then all the way up to 100 calories for some of the sweeter versions.
yeah, yeah. But
Um,
the pure kombucha typically is a pretty low calorie drink compared to, other sodas on the market. Um,
Absolutely,
and the
absolutely.
sugar content is so much lower than an average, soda. So, it's a great drink, I think. So I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Great. So I would love to hear, sort of what you're grateful for, Michael. And at the end, also let customers know where they can get a hold of your kombucha, and how they can reach you.
Yeah, like I said before, I'm grateful to be able to create something that I love. I think just as a chef, as a culinary instructor, we're all about that creating of something delicious, and always trying to, as chefs say, you're only as good as your last plate, right? I'm now only as good as my last can of kombucha. So the striving never stops. We're not a giant factory. We're a medium-sized brewery. Every batch is crafted. Every batch is tested and tasted and tweaked if necessary. The beauty of kombucha is that it is a living, breathing culture that has almost a will of its own. That base kombucha that I was talking about before we add the flavors to it, it wants to move around, and it's our job as chefs to on the daily do proper blending and balancing to make sure we're taking a product that is inherently inconsistent and making it consistent for the consumer, for the person who wants that blueberry tart to taste the same way it did over and over again. So that's really inspiring. As far as finding our product, we're at most natural grocers on the West Coast, like I said, Colorado, up north. If you do have trouble finding us, the website bambuchakombucha.com does have a store locator. And if you really struggle finding it, we do ship FedEx, 2-day FedEx in a beautiful insulated box because it is a live product, right? It has an ice pack, and we ship that right out to you. Yeah, free shipping. So that's a nice way for people to try it if they're in an area listening where they can't go pick it up at their natural grocer. So yeah, we do that in all 50 states. For the non-alc, the hard you can get in California via the same shipping method.
Fantastic. And you also have a beautiful Instagram page. Is Bambucha Kombucha? Is that what it's called on Instagram?
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Fantastic. Well, you're such an inspiration. I so enjoyed talking to you. I think what you're creating is art, in a culinary format. And I just love seeing your enthusiasm and your passion for what you do. And want to thank you for the amazing products that you create. And, I encourage everyone to try it. If you've not tried this amazing kombucha, make sure you try some of the amazing flavors that Michael has created. And please check out his Instagram and website as well. So thank you so much, Michael, for joining me. It was such a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure as well. I really appreciate your interest in this drink that I think is so important and that I really love, and I feel like so many more people still have the chance to fall in love with it. And I think we're gonna really continue to see that going forward.
Absolutely. So if you have not tried kombucha, I urge everyone to do so. It's definitely an experience, and I bet you'll fall in love with it. So thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.
Look forward to having you again in the future.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.